There is no one on the left. There is no one who supports Obama who is going to get out and say in public that this is a hoax. Certainly no one who is a leader of the party. So Exhibit A, when you are electing Mitt Romney, understand that it's not just Mitt Romney. You are also empowering political forces. If we're talking about what really needs to happen in this country is for people to rise up and fight back against the powerful elite. It is easier to do that when you have not empowered 40% of the population who believes diametrically opposite, who are invested in the diametrically opposite outcome. So I want you to listen to this clip of Rush Limbaugh and understand that a Mitt Romney presidency also empowers this guy.
A story from Boston.com. I think that's the Boston Globe. It might be the Herald. I'm not sure, but probably the Boston Globe. Doesn't matter. It's one of the two newspapers. A storm that many environmentalists see as linked to climate change has forced the end of a climate vigil in Boston.
All right, so Limbaugh is now, this is on Monday, I guess it was, laughing at somehow he thinks it's poetic justice that when people are protesting that we're about to get massive storms because of climate change, and it's not being brought up in the presidential debates in some way, he thinks it's poetic justice that a massive storm would shut them down. Continue.
200 environmentalist wackos had participated in a round-the-clock vigil since last Tuesday to protest the lack of discussion of climate change in the presidential debate, and they called on Scott Brown and Princess Elizabeth Warren to discuss the issue.
Now, of course, Limbaugh can't possibly be talking about anything without an opportunity to pass on some misogyny. Of course, she's Princess Elizabeth Warren. I guess I don't listen to Limbaugh enough to know, but it's just because she's a woman is really what it comes down to. Good.
Their final scheduled debate today. And then the storm hit, and environmentalist wackos dispersed, and the climate change convention ended. The only thing missing is Al Gore. Generally, what happens is they'll schedule a global warming conference. Gore will show up, and it'll snow. Or a cold front will...
Because we know that with global climate change, you can't have snow. You can't have snow. Now, of course, he doesn't get that he's making an analogy which is completely opposite. But it doesn't matter. When you have environmentalists saying, hey, how come we're not talking about the global climate change and its capacity to create superstorms and destroy parts of our society, when that superstorm comes in and actually disperses their protest, that's not analogous to when Al Gore has a conference and it snows. But that's not his point anyways.
Worm its way through. But Gore wasn't even there. So a hurricane disrupted a climate vigil. By the way, I wasn't going to do it, but grab soundbites 1 and 2. I think it's 1 and 2. Yep. Joe Bastardi was on Hannity last night. He used to be with AccuWeather. Now he's with Weatherbell Analytics, his chief forecaster. And Joe Bastardi is great. He just knocks all this global warming equals hurricanes theory out of the water. And he's beside himself that this hurricane's being blamed on man-made global warming. Here's the first of 2 sound bites.
My father used to call it the shortcut storm. He said he was confident he would see it before his days were numbered, and he's finally seen it. Okay, that's the first thing. Second thing is, get used to it along the East Coast. Maybe not this kind of track, but we are in a perilous time because the Atlantic's warm, the Pacific's cold. It's the 1950s all over again. Has nothing to do with global warming, has everything to do with nature, and then we'll go back to where we were in the 60s and 70s.
And he was, Hannity. So there's a pattern to all this, right? I mean, this is not something unusual.
Do you realize we had 10 major hurricanes run the eastern seaboard between 54 and 1960? 6 of them in 54 and 55. 6 hurricane hits from North Carolina northward. So, the old Bachman-Turner song, you ain't seen nothing yet. If anything, I was too quick on the gun several years ago when I said we were going to see this type of thing.
So I really haven't heard a whole lot about this being related to global warming. It's such a non-issue. anymore because it's fraudulent. The whole thing has been proven to be a hoax. And if you're new to the program, you hear me say that, well, what do you mean by that? No, the University of East Anglia, it's in the United Kingdom. There was a whistleblower in there who anonymously released a bunch of inter-office emails within the last year and a half, 2 years, that quite clearly indicated that the people involved were knowingly faking and fudging data to fit their conclusion that man and man's activity was warming the atmosphere to climate.
Okay, here is a public service to those people who just tuned in to Rush Limbaugh for the first time. There have been at least 7 debunkings of everything he just said. Look it up in Bloomberg. You had the National Science Foundation in this country debunked all of what he just said about ClimateGate, other than the fact that someone stole some emails. The Brits, I think, did 4 investigations. Every single one of them debunked it. I think there were 2 other international studies that debunked it. You have a guy who has 20 million listeners, who represents one of the intellectual pillars of the Republican Party. And if he's not enough for you, look at who heads their climate, their science, who chairs their science committees in the House, who's the ranking members of the Science Committee in the Senate. They all say global climate change is a hoax. I don't care what's in Mitt Romney's heart. The one thing that Mitt Romney has proven is that he will do what these nutsos say for him to do. Without any shame, without any hesitation. Will Obama react any better? I don't know. Probably not. But I do know that we will not have to fight an ascendant group of people who are telling this country and the world that climate change is a hoax.